new 2022 Mercedes-Benz S580, courtesy of Mercedes-Benz of Hagerstown in Hagerstown, Maryland. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so we are obviously in this one today because this is the benchmark for its class. Not only that, there are some changes for the 2022 S-Class for this year as well. So ultimately, I will be testing out and going over everything about this one, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. So as you can imagine, there are a few different trim levels for the 2022 S580. First one being the luxury line, starting at $117,700, AMG line for $122,000, and lastly the executive line starting at $129,100. But regardless of trim level that you go with, the power plant on this beast is going to be the same. Powering the S580 is a 4-liter bi-turbo V8, putting out 496 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, 516 pound-feet of torque, coming in at 2,000 RPM, power sent to all four wheels through Mercedes 4MATIC all-wheel drive system. That power is sent to the ground through a 9-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which we will be testing out here in a little bit. 0 to 60 time is going to come in at approximately 4.4 seconds according to Mercedes-Benz, and I put it that way because Car and Driver actually just recently tested it at 3.9 seconds, so substantially quicker than Mercedes-Benz put it out originally. Top speed 129 miles per hour with MPG numbers coming in at 16 in the city, 25 on the highway, taking premium unleaded fuel. And so before we do any kind of fun acceleration test here or paddle shifter test in the S-Class, I did want to mention to you guys the drive mode. There's actually a button labeled dynamic just underneath of the infotainment screen there. So ultimately that will give you drive modes including Eco, Comfort, Sport, Sport Plus, and Individual, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, steering sensitivity, and the suspension settings actually as well. And so now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and find a straightaway. Let's put the paddle shifters and acceleration here to the test at the same time. And let's see how quickly the paddle shifters are going to react, and let's see how quickly we can get our new 2022 S-Class here up to speed. All right, a couple of cars coming here, so it's gonna be a rolling start, but here we go. Dang. This thing is a rocket. Not only is it a rocket, but it's super freaking quiet. You guys could probably hear almost nothing there when I did that acceleration, and this thing got up to speed so freakishly quick, and you really don't realize how fast you're going until you look down because it is so quiet. So that was incredible. Paddle shifters were instantaneous as well, as expected at a car of this price range, I guess. But yeah, excellent paddle shifters, excellent acceleration. Definitely not going to be disappointed with that, without a doubt. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so 4-wheel ventilated disc brakes, of course, do come standard. As far as that 60 to 0 stopping distance goes, it's going to come in at a very impressive 108 feet. That is 100% sports sedan good, and even sports car good, you guys. That is an excellent braking distance, and braking feel, by the way, is excellent as well. I will say it tends to lead on the luxury side of things, but when you really need it, it brings you to a very quick stop without a doubt. So loving the braking feel in this thing. Then touching on suspension and handling, there is an adaptive self-leveling 4-wheel multi-link air suspension that does come standard. So essentially everything you could possibly want, every suspension component that could make this thing even smoother of a ride, basically. So essentially when I review cars, I look for 2 extra things when it comes to ride quality. That's going to be the adaptive suspension and an air suspension, and this has both. So you're not going to get any smoother of a ride quality when it comes to the S-Class for that particular reason. But guess what? It does get smoother, and here's why. Newly available for the 2022 S-Class is something called e-active body control. By the way, that goes for $6,500. It essentially scans the road via a camera to help adjust the suspension at each wheel to minimize body motion. So you got that as well, and it continues. There is a 10-degree rear axle steering that comes with the executive line, just like the Mercedes Maybach S-Class as well, which is pretty darn cool. So anyways, as far as ride quality goes, you guys know what I'm gonna say. This is one of the smoothest rides I've ever experienced, without a doubt. As far as steering feel goes, let me actually put it back in sport. It is a noticeable difference depending upon which drive mode that you put it in, but honestly, it's just right. It's not incredibly heavy. It's definitely not on the looser side of things. It's exactly the steering feel that it should be in an S-Class. As far as cabin noise goes, there's nothing. There's absolutely nothing. You guys can hear nothing. There's no road noise. It's absolutely amazing. So no issues there. And that's due in part because this thing has acoustic laminated glass all around it, essentially. That touching up visibility, I could see perfectly fine out the back. However, the second row headrests are kind of beefy, so they do take up a little bit of space, but honestly, you're not gonna have any issues there. It's definitely gonna be something that is not gonna be an issue whatsoever. Rain sensing windshield wipers do come standard, and there is an available head-up display if you wanted to go that route as well. But that pretty much rounds out the performance segment of this review, you guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2022 Mercedes-Benz S580 4MATIC. All right, so here she is, you guys, the new 2022 Mercedes-Benz S580 4MATIC. And here is a little shot of the window sticker in case you wanted to see that real quick. This one comes in at approximately $131,000, but as far as exterior goes here, color on this particular S-Class is manufactured diamond white is the color name, but there are some new colors for the 2022 model year. It's going to be nautical blue metallic, Kalahari gold, manufacturer cashmere white mango, and manufacturer selective gray mango. In case anybody was curious about those new colors for 2022. Let's go ahead and start up front though. Chrome front grille with the adaptive cruise control sensor front and center integrated very well into that front grille, so you really can't even tell the difference when you're from afar. And I also like the Mercedes crest located on the hood there. Definitely looks good as well. And it was kind of fun seeing that as I was behind the wheel driving this thing. Chrome accenting towards the lower portion of the front bumper to tie everything together as well. AMG body styling, obviously with the AMG line package, or trim level I should say. To the sides, full LED headlights do come standard, being both low beam and high beam, with LED daytime running lights, automatic feature coming with that as well, and automatic high beams, meaning if you have your high beams on at night and it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction, it's going to automatically dim those back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to bump it back up to high beams for you. So very convenient feature there. And overall, it looks like an S-Class. Very nice design to the front, very recognizable instantly. So pretty much rounds out the front end of this one though. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the side of the S580. All right, so now since we are around to the side of this one, chrome window surrounds do come standard. Chrome door handles flush when the vehicle is actually moving, of course. Right now they're popped out because we're not moving, but anyways, flush with the S-Class for a little better aerodynamics. Taking a look at the side mirrors, they are body colored power adjustable side mirrors. They are also heated, of course, with LED integrated turn signals, and they are auto dimming, so that's always nice if somebody's got their high beams on behind you, and power folding then as well. And this thing is going to get some added chrome accents on the side skirts towards the bottom there. You guys can probably see that then as well. But let's take a look at the wheel setup. It is going to differ, obviously. 19-inch twin 10-spoke alloys coming standard. But then you do have 20-inch and 21-inch wheel designs available if you wanted to go that route. And if you were to go with the AMG line package, you will get 19-inch AMG specific alloy wheels then. But again, that pretty much rounds out the side. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back. All right, and so now since we are around to the back of this one, you guys can see there is an LED high mount stop lamp just all the way towards the upper portion of that glass there. On the trunk there, you do have a body colored rear spoiler coming standard. Chrome trim tying together the taillights. Gotta love that look as well. And by the way, LED taillights do come standard, and I love all the little kind of LED individual lighting within these taillights. You guys could probably see that. It's such a cool design. The attention to detail that Mercedes put into this S-Class, it always astounds me. So definitely a big fan of that as well. LED license plate lighting also coming standard. You do have some added chrome trim towards the bottom portion of that lower rear bumper there, and a little bit of a gloss black rear diffuser in between everything there at the bottom. It looks pretty good. And lastly, integrated dual exhaust outlets with chrome tips. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. So now since we are around to the back of the S580, when it comes to opening that rear trunk, there are a few different ways to go ahead and do that. There is a button on the key fob itself. That is one way. There is also a button on the driver's side door, and there is a button on the trunk itself as well. It is a power trunk, of course, and it's a pretty quick opening and closing power trunk at that. A lot of times it's not as quick as this particular power truck is. So I was definitely a big fan of that. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 13.8 cubic feet, which is definitely a good bit of cargo space back there. There is LED cargo lighting back there. There is a 12-volt power outlet. There are tie-down anchors actually as well. There's a little bit of netted storage to the sides there. And if you lift up underneath of that cargo floor, you're actually going to find some more storage as well for a little bit of in-floor storage. So it's definitely something you typically find in SUVs. So I was a huge fan to see it actually in a sedan. Even if it is the S-Class, still, it's rare to see that. So I was definitely a big fan there. Making our way then to the rear legroom, that comes in at 43.8 inches. That is a ton of rear legroom. For reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I have back there. Power rear window sunshades, not just for the actual rear window, but actually power side window sunshades as well. So definitely a huge fan of that. If you're a vampire, this is definitely the car for you without a doubt. Rear center armrest, of course, does come standard. There is a tablet holder in there and a cell phone holder in there as well. As far as the rear ventilation goes, it's going to be located just in front of the rear doors there, as well as just in front of the passengers in the middle there as well. So a couple different directions for rear ventilation. That's definitely nice. Rapid heating rear seats are going to be available, but I did want to mention there is an executive right rear seat available, and that is, again, just for the right rear seat, the passenger side, that is going to recline 43 degrees. It includes a power calf and footrest feature, memory settings actually as well, and rear seat neck heating. Rear seat neck heating. Is that even a thing? That's an incredible feature. Mercedes, you thought of everything for this S-Class. I absolutely love it. And of course, you got freaking pillows for the headrest back there as well. So 100% on point when it comes to rear seat comfort without a doubt. And of course, ventilated rear seats are available then as well. But so then making our way up to the front seats, 12-way power adjustable front seats do come standard. They will be heated, multi-contour front seats with the massage function, all of that coming standard, ventilated front seats coming standard. Memory settings can be found on both the driver and passenger side doors for up to 3 different driver and passengers. So even the passenger can have their own memory settings, which is pretty darn sweet. Napa leather is going to come standard. It is a quilted Napa leather. There are several different interior color options available as well. And overall, one of the most comfortable seats you can possibly imagine. Of course, power lumbar adjustments as well. I didn't even mention that. So you sink right into these seats, and they're kind of an extended seat cushion as well. So extremely comfortable place to be in the front seats then as well. But then take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is leather wrapped and it is heated as well. And the 10 and 2 bolsters are definitely on the thicker side, which I personally appreciate then as well. Then make your way to the startup. Let me first start by showing you guys the key. It is a pretty heavy duty key. All of your buttons are on one side of the key. The Mercedes logo is going to be the lock button. Just underneath of that, unlock. And of course, bottom button there is going to be the power trunk then. But it is essentially all keyless entry with a push button start. So all I'm going to do here is simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button located just to the left of the infotainment screen there. So once started up, 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster does come standard. Speedometer's on your left, tachometer's on your right, and of course it's all digital, so you can really customize it however you want. You actually have the ability to put navigation on those gauges if you wanted to, not just in the middle section, but you can also make it take up the entire gauge cluster if you wanted to as well, which is pretty cool. There's a couple different gauge looks. So you got classic, which is what it naturally defaults to. There's exclusive, which is a pretty darn cool look as well. I like that. There's also sport. Actually, let me put it on that real quick. That is a really cool look. It looks like you're in some kind of futuristic race car or something. I like that. And then there's understated, which I've seen on plenty of other Mercedes-Benz as well. So overall, everything can be controlled by using the steering wheel mounted controls found on the left side of the steering wheel. I love these different gauge readouts. So definitely a bunch of different looks, whatever you're into. So I am a huge fan of these gauges without a doubt. One of the best gauge clusters I think that is out there right now without a doubt. My last 600 and so cars that I've checked out. But anyways, now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. A panorama roof does come standard for all trim levels across the board. LED interior lighting, of course. Garage door openers found on the lower portion of that frameless rear view mirror for up to 3 different garage doors. Dual zone climate control, of course, coming standard. 64 colors of ambient lighting as well, and that's all adjusted through the center infotainment screen I'll be touching on here in a little bit. Illuminated door sills do come standard. The AMG line is going to add a couple different things. The AMG floor mats on the inside, stainless steel pedals as well. We actually have stainless steel pedals actually right now, which is pretty cool. Wood trim does come standard, and it's matte wood trim, which I personally love. I like the little texturized feel to it. Wireless phone charger can be found kind of just to the upper left-hand corner of the cup holders there, so you got that. You got a little more storage, dual cup holders, of course. 2 phone charging ports within the center armrest. You got 2 more phone charging ports and a decent amount of space there. Let's check out the glove box real quick. And actually, within the glove box, you're actually going to find your scented air freshener in there too. So definitely a big fan of that. And it's like a felt maybe kind of material inside the glove box, so another cool texture inside the glove box. All kinds of different textures in this thing, so I'm definitely a big fan. I like the quilted leather as well found on the doors. They carried on the quilted leather from the seats onto the doors, so that was pretty cool too. Overall, I don't think it gets a whole heck of a lot better than the interior quality in an S-Class in the end. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the infotainment screen here. A 12.8-inch OLED touchscreen display does come standard, of course. Bluetooth and audio streaming coming with that. Wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay. That is a new feature that vehicles are starting to roll out now, so I like that the S-Class, the new S-Class, has that coming standard as well. Factory navigation also coming standard. You can adjust your climate control settings up on that screen as well. Heated seat buttons are up there. You can also adjust your ambient lighting settings up there, which I thought was pretty cool. And you actually have multicolor ambient lighting settings as well, which I think is pretty cool. So different colors depending upon which section of the vehicle that you're taking a look at. So I think that's freaking awesome. I like that. Anyways, you can, of course, check out your radio information up there as well. And by the way, the standard sound system on the S-Class is a 15-speaker Burmester sound system. So having said that, that is the one we have today. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. That was fun. Definitely a very nice sound system. I actually felt the bass kind of where my left foot is, so there's definitely something going on down there. I don't know if it's subwoofer or what, but ton of bass, ton of clarity, ton of loudness. So that was an excellent sound system for the S-Class without a doubt. But last thing I wanted to mention to you guys on the infotainment screen is when you do put the S-Class in reverse, you will find a very high definition rear view camera. Not only that, a surround view monitor also comes standard there to the left. So that, as always, is going to lead us into safety. And so front side curtain airbags do come standard, driver's knee airbag as well. In addition to that, rear side impact airbags as well. I know that's an option on a lot of BMWs, but I like that it comes standard here on the S-Class. But in the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also coming standard on the S580. E-call emergency system, which is excellent. That means if you get into an accident, if somebody hits you or something, the car is automatically going to call you, ask you if you're all right, and if you need the police or ambulance or whatever. So I love that feature. Active parking assist, blind spot assist, active brake assist with autonomous emergency braking, lane keep assist, lane departure warning, forward collision mitigation with pedestrian detection, driver attention monitoring system, and evasion assist then as well. And so overall, when it comes to my final thoughts here of the S580, it's an extremely quick car, especially for the size of the sedan. 0 to 60 in 3.9 is definitely very quick. Great braking, 60 to 0 in 108 feet. Also an extremely impressive number. Definitely not going to have any issues with that. This is probably the best ride quality with the most quietest cabin I have ever experienced in my last 600 plus drives that I've done right now. So it really is the benchmark for a luxury car without a doubt. Of course, Mercedes-Benz, in my personal opinion, has the best ambient lighting as far as the brightness output at night and what that actually looks like. So I love that. And also excellent tech as well. I really can't come up with any room for improvement besides it's well out of my budget, but that's about it. Let me know 22 BMW 740i courtesy of Apple BMW in York, PA. For more information on their inventory, please feel free to check out the link in the description box below. And so I'm in this one today because this thing is a beast. It is all luxury. It competes with the Mercedes-Benz S-Class, and quite honestly, it is super quiet in here right now, so I'm just quite excited to be in this one. Not only that, you do get 3 years, 36,000 miles of complimentary maintenance on this thing as well. And so in this video, I will be testing out and going over everything about the 740i, from acceleration to braking, steering feel, ride quality, sound system, exhaust clip, all of that fun stuff. So having said all of that, what do you guys say? Let's just go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, let's start with pricing. And so MSRP for the 2022 BMW 740i will start at $86,800. X-Drive variant, meaning the all-wheel drive variant, is going to start at $89,800, and Price as tested for the particular vehicle that we are in today is going to go for $103,150. We do have quite a bit of options here, but powering the beast is going to be a 3-liter twin power turbocharged inline 6-cylinder, putting out 335 horsepower at 5,500 RPM, 331 pound-feet of torque coming in at 1,500 RPM, power sent to rear wheels or all wheels through an 8-speed automatic with paddle shifters, which you guys know we will test out here in a little bit. 0 to 60 time is going to come in at 5.3 seconds for the rear wheel drive, but then 4.8 seconds for the all-wheel drive we have here today, with MPG numbers coming in at 22 in the city, 29 on the highway for the rear wheel drive, 20 in the city, 27 then on the highway for the all-wheel drive, taking premium unleaded fuel. But before we do any kind of paddle shifter or acceleration test, I did want to mention to you guys the drive modes. They will include Eco Pro, Adaptive, Comfort, Comfort Plus, and Sport, adjusting things like the shift points, the throttle response, steering sensitivity, the air suspension settings. Yes, the 740i does come with an air suspension. Also, the side bolsters on the seating. For example, in the sport driving mode, it's going to tighten up. And the gauge colors as well, which is pretty cool. And so, but now having got all of that out of the way, what do you guys say? Let's go ahead and test out the paddle shifters here. First, what I'm going to do is simply slide the shifter all the way to the back and to the left. That is going to actually give me a full manual shift mode. It is telling me what gear I'm in up on the digital gauges up front here. We'll get more into those digital gauges later in the video because they are pretty darn cool. But having said that, let's go ahead and find it straight away. Let's put these things to the test and let's see how quickly these paddle shifters are going to react for us here. All right, you guys, here we go. In 3, 2, 1. Wow. Yeah, okay. I knew that was gonna happen. I always forget, but I should have known. Every single time I've ever tested a BMW at Apple BMW, these paddle shifters have always been ridiculously quick. If there's one thing that I should remember on every single BMW I ever test, it's that the paddle shifters are ridiculous. They always impress me every single time I play around with them. So having said that, if you wanted to have a little bit of fun with the paddle shifters on the weekend, maybe some back roads, do it because they are worth it. These things are amazing. But now, having said that, let's go ahead and get back full control to the 7 Series here. I'm just gonna slide the shifter back to the right there. And now it is telling me I am in drive yet again with no manual shift mode. So let's go ahead now, test out the acceleration with the 7 Series having full control, and let's see how quickly we can get this one here up to speed. 3, 2, 1. Oh, that's a soft headrest. I like it. Ugh. Oh my gosh. That was crazy. This acceleration is plenty fine. You are definitely not going to be disappointed when you hit the gas here in the 740i. And I know there's the 750 and some other configurations as well. But having said that, you don't need that. Quite honestly, you don't. The 740 has plenty of power. Definitely not going to have any issues emerging onto the highway. And like I said, these headrests, they're pillows. So when you actually do hit the gas, you're gonna be quite comfortable. I'll just say that. But anyways, to go along with that acceleration, as always, braking is equally important. And so when it comes to braking, up front you will find 14.7-inch ventilated front discs. In the back, 14.5-inch solid rear discs. Did want to also mention an option that we have today being the M Sport brakes with blue calipers. That goes for $650 if you were interested in that. As far as that 60 to 0 stopping distance goes, it comes in at a very respectable 112 feet. That is sports sedan respectable, let me tell you. That's a wonderful number. And as far as the braking feel goes, it definitely stopped perfectly fine. Even for as large of a vehicle as the 740i is, it didn't feel as much as it actually weighs. So definitely a fan of the braking feel. Was not a soft braking feel, so I was a fan of that. Touching on suspension and handling, up front you're going to get a double wishbone multi-link aluminum front suspension. In the back, integral V multi-link aluminum rear suspension, twin tube gas pressurized shock absorbers, dynamic damper control as well, which is pretty cool. It monitors each shock absorber individually, not only giving you a smoother ride, but also tightening up the suspension during heavy cornering as well. And my favorite, a 2-axle self-leveling air suspension. And so that will adjust depending upon which drive mode that you put it in automatically. It's also going to lower at highway speeds, and there is actually a button you can manually adjust it if you wanted to as well. And so as far as ride quality goes, it pretty much is as to be expected. I'm actually coming up on a slight manhole right here. Let's go ahead and yeah, it's perfectly fine. You're definitely not going to have any issues with ride quality. Definitely is absorbing Pennsylvania's road imperfections quite nice. It's a very smooth ride as expected on this 740i. As far as steering feel goes, it is adjustable depending upon which driving mode that you put it in. It does differ quite substantially too, depending upon which driving mode. So like if I put it in that sport driving mode, it's going to give me a much heavier feel, instantly pointing me in the direction that I want to go. But now I've put it back in that comfort driving mode, and it is a little bit more on the looser side. But having said that, it's still not bad, but it is definitely a noticeable difference. So just keep that in mind. It's pretty much something for everybody, I'll put it that way. As far as cabin noise goes, I think you guys could tell that was one of the first things I noticed when I got in this car. It is so quiet. It is such a serene cabin, I guess as expected in a $100,000 car like the 7 Series. So no exterior wind noise, even at higher speeds. I've been over 50 miles per hour in my short test drive here today, and there was no wind noise coming into the cabin whatsoever. So that is definitely a beautiful thing. And then maybe due in part because there is the acoustic laminated front windshield and front door glass as well, which of course is going to contribute to that serene cabin. Then touching on visibility, I could see 100% perfectly fine out the back. Definitely not going to have any issues there. Rain sensing windshield wipers also coming standard, and not only that, I am looking at a head-up display on my windshield right now as well. So that is currently telling me my speed limit of any given road that you're on. It's also going to tell you the speed you are currently going, and it's going to project some safety features up there then as well. But that about rounds out the performance segment of this review, guys. Let's now go ahead and take a look at the exterior of our brand new 2022 BMW 740i. All right, and so here she is, you guys, the new 2022 BMW 740i, finished in mineral white metallic. In case anybody was curious of our exterior color name we had. Starting up front, of course, you will find that BMW active kidney front grille with a chrome perimeter. Active being there's actually grille shutters behind that front grille that will open and close dependent upon the engine cooling that is needed at any given time. Did want to mention though, the M Sport package that we have today actually adds gloss black exterior accent. So everywhere where you would typically find a chrome or aluminum trim accent, you can replace that with gloss black if you were to go with that M Sport package, which by the way gets for $3,400. Then take a look down to the corners, you will find front air curtains helping direct air around the wheel and tire combination. To the sides, icon adaptive LED headlights. They do come with the automatic feature, meaning when it starts to get dark out at night, they do turn on automatically for you there. LED daytime running lights, of course, coming standard, and automatic high beams as well. And so if you have your high beams on, it senses a vehicle coming in the opposite direction. It's going to dim that back to low beams. Then when that vehicle is gone, it's going to bump it back up to high beams for you, so you never have to touch anything. So like that feature as well. But that pretty much rounds out the front end of the 740. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the side of this one. And so once again, when it comes to those window surrounds, they will be finished in either a chrome or gloss black finish, depending upon which configuration that you go with. Functional accents found on the front fenders, I thought that was pretty cool. It's not just a look or an accent piece, they are functional. Body colored power adjustable side mirrors do come standard. Those side mirrors will be heated with LED integrated turn signals and power folding as well. Then take a look down at the wheel configuration. 18-inch double 5-spoke Orbit Gray wheels coming standard. 19-inch double 5-spoke alloys coming with the M Sport. And then there are plenty of 20-inch wheel configurations available. If you wanted to go that route, take, for example, the 20-inch M Star Black alloys that we particularly have today. But so then that wraps up the side of the 740. Let's now go ahead and make our way to the back here. LED adaptive taillights do come standard. M Sport specific rear bumper, since we have the M Sport, of course, and that's essentially just going to add a heck of a lot of black accents as opposed to the otherwise body colored accents with some aluminum trim. So that's the difference between the M Sport and the non-M Sport essentially. Just below it all though, you will find integrated dual exhaust outlets. Integrated being it's kind of worked into that rear bumper as opposed to just hanging underneath, which I personally love, with chrome or black tips, gloss black tips. So we do have the gloss black here, so I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. As always, here is that exhaust clip. And Once open now, since we are around back, when it comes to opening that rear trunk of the 740, there are a couple different ways to go about doing it. Of course, there is a button on the key fob, and actually when you press that, you will actually find it is a power rear trunk. So it's not something that's just gonna pop open, then you have to lift it up. It's gonna automatically completely open up for you. And then there's a button on the trunk itself if you wanted to close it. Then also another way to open it is underneath of the BMW logo, just above the license plate. That's yet another way. But once opened up, cargo capacity comes in at 18.2 cubic feet. Did want to also mention there's plenty going on in that cargo area, including tie-down anchors, which I was surprised to find, LED cargo lighting, which kind of makes sense at this price point, grocery bag hook, which you typically only find on SUVs, so it was kind of refreshing to see it on a sedan. Also a little bit of small storage in the area to the right and the back as well. So overall, pretty darn good amount of space there in the cargo area. But then making our way up to the rear legroom, which quite possibly is the very best part of the 740, 44.4 inches of rear legroom. That might be the most I've ever seen. For reference, I'm even 6 feet tall. This is how much space I had back there, an absolute ton. Of course, you will find a rear center armrest with cup holders, but not only that, you can lift up underneath of that center armrest. You're going to find a good bit of storage, enough to possibly fit a tablet back there if you wanted to, which I thought was pretty cool. Dual zone rear ventilation, meaning this car actually has 4-zone climate control for both the driver and the passenger, but also the two rear passengers on both sides too can set their own individual temperatures, which is pretty cool. Then just below that, you can find a little bit of storage. There is a 12-volt power outlet and then 2 phone charging ports then as well. But it keeps getting better, let me tell you guys, because you will also find rear vanity mirrors with lighting. You don't ever find that on other vehicles out there. That was pretty cool. And a little throwback, you actually also have ashtrays in the doors. So if you're a smoker, BMW's got you covered. I think that's the first time I've ever seen that. It's kind of funny, but power rear window sunshade coming standard, power side window sunshades also coming standard. And by the way, all of the sunshade buttons are going to be found on each door in the back in case you were curious. But overall, rear legroom was insane, and the back seats of the 740i is definitely a place that you want to be. But now, let's go ahead and make our way up to the front seats. Dakota leather upholstery coming standard, power adjustable multi-contour front seats coming standard with adjustable shoulder support, adjustable thigh support, and adjustable side bolsters, which was my very favorite part as well. So when you just put it in a sport driving mode, you don't even need to adjust the side bolsters, which you can do manually on the seat itself if you wanted to, but it like hugs you in place. It's so stinking cool. Memory settings also coming standard, heated front seats coming standard, ventilated front seats coming with the executive package, which goes for $2,000 and gives you a ton of other stuff too. But super comfy headrests is one of the things I noticed when I hit the gas. They're essentially like pillows when your head gets tossed back into them. So overall, I think you can imagine the seats were plenty comfortable. Reason being is because they are so many different ways adjustable. There's basically no possible way you wouldn't be able to find your perfect driving position with them. But then take a look at the steering wheel. It is tilt and telescoping. It is power adjustable, leather wrapped, and heated as well. Then taking a look at the startup, let me actually start by showing you guys the keys. Since we had the M Sport package, we do have the M colors on the side of the key, but all of your buttons are located on one side, being lock, unlock, and the button to pop the rear hatch. And it is a remote start for every single trim level and a push button start as well. So all I'm going to do here, simply put my foot on the brake and press that engine start button. And so upon startup, it is a full digital gauge cluster, 12.3 inch digital gauge cluster to be exact. Speedometer is on your left, tachometer is on your right. If you see the little lines in the middle of the screen, that is going to be the navigation displaying up in the middle there. Of course, you got your M colors towards the top. That is pretty cool. And again, when you adjust the different driving modes, it's going to give you a little bit different hues as well. So red for the sport mode, blue is going to be for Eco Pro, and then you're going to get some orangish reddish hues for the comfort. So I do like the color adjustments. Of course, it's going to tell you your basics like outside temperature, how many miles you have left until you hit empty and stuff like that. But now let's go ahead and make our way to overall interior quality. Panoramic moonroof does come standard across the board. LED interior lighting also coming standard. Auto dimming rear view mirror with HomeLink controls for up to 3 different garage doors. Always love that. Again, 4-zone climate control. There is a wireless phone charger, ambient lighting, high gloss wood trim. That was one of the cool things I liked about this one. It's found on the doors, also just above the passenger side glove box. It's also going to be some aluminum trim on that glove box handle, which I thought was pretty cool. Usually manufacturers won't bother with that. They'll just leave it with the body colored accents of the glove box. So that was kind of cool. In front of the shifter, you're going to have dual cup holders. There's going to be USB charging port and a 12-volt power outlet as well. And again, that wireless phone charger. Within the center armrest, there is definitely a good bit of storage within that. There is a phone charging port in there, 12-volt power outlet. Also, some lighting in there as well, which I thought was pretty cool. And not to mention, my favorite part, the center armrests are actually heated, just like the seats. So I thought that was pretty cool. Most manufacturers do not do that either. So interior quality was as expected. It's absolutely amazing. And honestly, at $100,000, I would not expect anything less. But now let's go ahead and make our way to the tech here. 10.25-inch color touchscreen display does come standard. Again, it is a touchscreen. It is also voice activated. You can use the circular dial and buttons if you wanted to, and my very favorite, gesture control. So for example, if I wanted to turn the radio up, let's say I just rotate my finger in a clockwise motion. If I wanted to turn it down, counterclockwise. So I always like having fun with that. But anyways, Bluetooth and audio streaming you can find up there, Android Auto, Apple CarPlay as well, factory navigation system, climate control settings, and one of the best parts, experience mode. So if you click that, it's going to kind of completely alter everything. So it's going to do things like open and close the power moonroof, adjust the ambient lighting, open and close the power rear sunshades. It really can completely change the environment on the interior of the 740i. So I absolutely love that. And of course, you can also check out your radio information up there as well. And by the way, when it comes to the sound system of the 740i, you will get a 16-speaker Harman Kardon sound system with 464 watts. So having said that, I do believe you guys know what we have to do next. Let's go ahead and turn on the radio, see what we got playing today, and let's test out the clarity of this one. Wish I could tell you there's no one to... Actually, that was really good. Clarity was 100% on point. Bass wasn't the very most that I've heard out there, but still, it was adequate for that sound system. And again, the clarity was crazy, so absolutely love that actually. And so the last thing I'm going to mention to you guys on that infotainment screen is when you do put the 740i in reverse, you of course will find a rear view camera coming standard across the board, but not only that, a surround view monitor coming standard as well. It's going to be that bird's eye view, letting you know what is completely all around you, which is always is going to lead us into safety. And so front side curtain airbags do come standard. In the back, you're going to have latch, aka lower anchors and tethers for children for the rear car seats, rear child door locks, tire pressure monitoring system, but also active driving assistant. And this is where the good stuff comes in. That will include frontal collision